I'm in Franklin, Indiana, and about to play a small part in a movie called Survival, independently produced by Bill Deaver. Okay, now which one of you gentlemen is the producer of this movie, and what is the title?
That would be me. The working title is Survival, but it's going to be something else. I think we're taking a poll and among the crew decide which one they like the best. This is Jeff Burr. He is the director of this film. And we have the pleasure of working with one of our main ingenues, Lloyd Kaufman, and you know, I think it's going to be good.
Tell us, how did this film begin? You're the producer. What made you?
I was approached by a bunch of people in England who knew of the independent work we were doing here, and they were interested in getting financially involved. And like most independent filmmakers, when you see a dollar bill on the floor, you grab it and try to make another film. Well, that's what we did, and so we've got this ragtag crew together, led by Jeff Burr. This is Jay, Jessica Cameron, Caleb Gill, Urban Rossi, Jordan Paley, George Craig, Mark Hanna, Ross Headley, Dale, Jessica. This is Scott Schrader and Dave Wilson. And we're going to try to make an entertaining, compelling movie for today's marketplace.
Well, tell me more about this. People who got financially involved would like to steal them. I mean, how is it that they came all the way over from England to Indiana? Now, what made them think they would make money? Or?
Well, it's essentially they were aware of what we've done with Jim Wynorski. With Monster Cruise, and they were aware of what we did with our film Spooky Tales and The Sandbox. And they knew that we've had a pretty good track record in getting theatrical distribution for some of our product. So as a result, they put some money up, and you know, we came up with a concept that we thought would suit the area which we live, which is Franklin, Indiana.
It's the first shot of the day, so we're just getting a feel for the location, where the vehicles need to be parked out of the way, where the actors are going to be, where the first camera shot's going to be. So it's the first morning of the first day of the first shot.
Or doing a quick little exterior scene. Well, you know, in Hollywood, we do the exteriors first and then the interiors, because if it rains, we can always go inside. So we're doing the exteriors first. Going to be in the first exterior.
Okay.
So playing the kindly projectionist, it'll be scene 62.
62. Okay.
Which
do we have any lines?
Yes, you do.
Action! Lloyd. Hey, you guys okay?
What is the? Can you talk about the budget for? It's a feature-length movie.
The budget is slightly below $100,000.
Is it a union movie?
No, it's not a union film. We're shooting in Indiana, where really there isn't a bunch of either guild or union actors. And we're just putting together with a pool and troupe of folks that we worked with before. What we're trying to do is establish a cottage industry for independent film here in the Midwest. We find that the people that we work with locally really provide us with a lot of support.
I do not own it.
Oh, the bill or the production owns the camera?
Yeah, they actually own it. Yeah, we're not even renting.
No rental cost at all in this movie at all, because the production company owns all the equipment that we're using. So, which is good. But
What kind of camera is that?
The Sony EX1. Depends on the story and kind of the budget. Obviously, those are kind of the two biggest things in terms of defining the equipment and specifically the type of camera that you get to use. Yeah.
But high definition.
High definition. Yeah.
Would you, as Ross, DP, Ross, what's your last name?
Headley.
Headley. Oh,
Yes.
I'm sorry, I got Mark Headley.
Yeah.
Would you prefer celluloid, or do you like the new technology?
I mean, film has its definite advantages, especially in terms of latitude when you're shooting outside. In terms of controlling light and stuff like that, and being a little more rough around the edges, you can kind of fix it in post, kind of thing. It's a little bit easier, especially with this type of budget when you're running and gunning.
it all depends on the project and how you're shooting, because now you could get some great deals on 35 cameras. Or 16 cameras that aren't being used as often. So and if you had a low shooting ratio and everything else. But I will say this: digital, especially for totally not to say this is the case in our case, but for a very green production company, it's easier to get an acceptable image with little experience via digital.
And it's a fogger, and that was a...
Actually, originally was a pepper spray fogger to disperse large, boisterous crowds that the Army had developed.
Huh.
And we found it selling on eBay, and we picked it up.
No kidding.
Well, they also used them for agricultural.
Yes, they used it for agricultural, too.
Fog them out that
And
way.
primarily orange groves.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh, cool. How much is something like that?
Well, it's usually $5,000 or $6,000, but we got it for $400.
$400. Wow. That is such a valuable thing. And is that like foggers that most movies use? Are they?
That's probably the biggest fogger in existence. They call that an Ajiva fogger, and they're now illegal in California because they don't use them properly. And if you don't use them properly, they turn into, it's a jet engine, can turn into a huge flamethrower.
Oh, nice.
Which is not good.
No, not if it's near.
This is what you want.
No. Not if it's near Brandon Lee.
No, or Lee Horsley.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you, Bill. This particular project, is it a subject dear to your heart? Is it something that you feel will make money? Is it aimed at a particular audience?
What we're really trying to do is make something that's within a particular genre, that's easily accessible to the marketplace. It's not an art film. It's a formulaic film that really is, I think, has a wide, massive appeal.
The locations, I have a hunch that there's some significance to those locations.
Well, one of them is a drive-in that Joe Godden and I both own. It's called the Skyline Drive-In, but you know, in southern Indiana it's known as Lloyd's Place.
It's the men's room.
The men's room and the women's sanitary napkin dispenser. What's good about producing films in a low environment like this is the locations are accessible, the people are accessible because they haven't been burnt a lot by, you know, professional movie crews, and you know, they're still intrigued with the idea of making movies.
What is the pitfall that you see producers falling into?
Well, okay, I'll say the main pitfall, two main pitfalls, and they're the two sides of the coin. They're either too ambitious or not ambitious enough. And the too ambitious would be try to make Avatar that looks like Avatar for $5. The not ambitious enough would be, okay, they're satisfied with something they've already seen. Why does this movie exist? There's got to be a reason for it, more than just, I want it to exist. And that, because there's so much white noise out there, and anyone can make a movie, which is great, and it's bad, because that leads to a lot of digital distortion, you know, in our society. So so this movie is, even though he says it's I hate that word formulaic, Bill says it's a formula. What he means really by that is it's a genre movie, so it does have a spine, a spine that you know, that it's a common spine that we all know. But what the bones you hang on that spine are very unusual. So that's what I try to bring in as a director for a movie like this. Try to make it as kind of off kilter, but in an organic way as possible.
You can't do that with your digital CGI sprocket holes. I use sprocket holes.
Motorcycle! Move! Go, go, go! And cut!
So what have we learned? What have we learned? We've learned that business theory says that if you have a base of power, you may succeed. And here we are, away from New York, away from LA, in Indiana. And Bill Devers owns his own equipment. He's got this resource of talent that's all around Ohio, Indiana, close by, mostly people who are dedicated to the project. There's no attitude. We've been here for 14 hours. So I think I've learned something about having a base of power in a place that's not in the obvious Hollywood or New York area. It's very inspiring. Yes, the hot dog machine works. This is Lloyd the Magnificent. It's like Zombie Holocauster or one of those Troma zombie movies. You want fries with your martial law?
You cracked me up, Lloyd.
10-4, Franklin.